never even dawned on me that I would be able to do. So I'm very thankful for the blessings that I have, for the all of the opportunities that have come my way, and the ability that I've been given, and all of that stuff. So, to me, a lot of people can afford this. I can afford this. Most of what I've got, I paid cash for. I've got a little bit of debt, but very little. But I can't afford this and a $450,000 house. I can't afford to do this and eat out every single day of my life. I can't afford to do this and drive a brand new pickup truck or a brand new SUV or whatever it is that people seem to think you have to have. But I can afford to do this. I can afford to buy extra tooling. I can afford to buy coolant. I can afford to buy a CNC machine when that opportunity presents itself, because I don't drive that stuff. I don't do those things. I don't care. I have like I said, a single wide trailer that it's warm in the winter. It's cool in the summer. It's dry when it's raining. And that's really all I need to be happy. So, like I said, it's a matter of priorities. What are your priorities? What do you want to do? And is keeping up with the Joneses, is I want to look this way or I want to be presented that way? Does that matter more to you than following your dreams, than finding something to do? Because I guarantee you, if I had a mortgage payment every month for a really nice house, this would have never happened. I could have never done this. It's just not something I could have afforded to do. So, I've had people come here and oh man, you can afford to have a nicer house than this, or you can afford to drive a nicer vehicle than that, or, whatever it is that they see. Well, yeah, I can. But I can't afford to do that and this. So what do I choose to do? I choose to do this. I choose to build stuff. I originally started with this pickup truck over here. This was an 88 Chevy 1-ton with a tool body on it. That was my garage. That's what I worked out of. Traded a friend for it somehow. Got it, and I started adding everything in the world to it. It used to have every tool in the world. I used to have generators and welders and everything in the world on that truck. It weighed about 10,000 pounds just driving up and down the road, and would pass anything but a gas station. But it was great, and I started it almost as a ministry, because I started learning that I was good at troubleshooting things. I was good at fixing problems. I was good at figuring out how things work and fixing those problems when they came. Things that seemed to be hard for other people to figure out, for whatever reason, I was able to more or less work through it and figure it out, and I enjoy doing it. It's a puzzle to me. It's fun. I get paid to basically solve puzzles every day. So I've got the best job in the world. But, that started as a ministry. And then, before long, I remember when this was just a concrete pad. I had a building that I had put together out of tarps and, what was it? A frame from a trampoline. So a friend of mine could get these tarps like this that I've got this side of my building sealed off with now. It's old signs. And we had taken pallets and used those for the sides of the building and put a frame up with the old trampoline stuff and just ran tarps over top of it. And that's what I worked out of for 2 or 3 years. And I remember when I first got this part of my building, this was the first one. So I bought this building that I'm standing in. I had them put in a 12 by 9 opening here and here, which that's what that is. And I remember I got every single tool that I had in that building, and I lined every one of those tools up on this back wall right here. Every single tool. And I remember thinking, man, this place is massive. I can't believe I'll never fill this place up. And within 6 months, I couldn't fit anything else in the building. One of the things I've been very adamant about is I want room in the middle of my building to work on a car or whatever. If somebody needs help and they need to bring their car in and we need to work on it, I want a place to work on it where I'm out of the weather and I've got a flat place to work. And so I've been very adamant about keeping the very middle of this building wide open for a vehicle. But before long, that was all you could do. You could barely pull a vehicle in. You could barely get around. And so at one point, I had enough money to pour a pad right over here on this side. So I poured a pad over there. And at some point, I came up with the money. I did a rent-to-own building thing for this building that I'm standing in and this one over here, which was more money than it should have been. I paid way more because of the rent to own thing, but at the time, that's what I could afford to do. That's what I did. As soon as I got the opportunity, I took a loan out at the bank, way less interest, and paid both of these off with that loan, and then I paid the loan off. And then I found a place that I could buy the material, the building material, to build this section back here. So I built all of this, just me and a friend of mine put all this together in a day. So this has been a 2-3 year thing from start to finish. What you're seeing here, maybe, about 3 years. And it's funny because I look back and I see what I've accomplished in 3 years, and it's 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. I've learned to motivate myself, so when I'm sitting on the couch and I'm tired and I want to watch TV, or I just don't feel like getting up, I get up and I get going. I can't tell you how many days I'll come home and I'm tired and I've been working, and I'll go inside and it's like, I got 15 minutes. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do this one thing. I'm going to wire up that one outlet. I'm going to put in one 220 outlet for a welder over here that I've been wanting to do. And I've got a list in my head about 2 miles long of little things that I want to get done. And so a lot of times it's just that one little 15-minute thing that I can knock out. Before I know it, where I was not motivated at all, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to go anywhere. It was, okay, well, I'd just knock that out in 15 minutes. That didn't take long. Well, let me do this next thing. And before I realize it, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I've been out there for 6 or 7 hours and I'm still not tired, which is probably my biggest problem. I don't sleep half the time. I'll get in and I'm still wired, and about 4 o'clock in the morning, I finally fall asleep, and then I'm back up and getting stuff done the next day. And I'll do that for 6 months. And then generally at some point I quit. I don't even come in here half the time for a week at a time and just rest. And then I start back up. So, again, it's all of those days and all of those nights of things that I just didn't feel like doing, that I just decided, hey, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go do it. Because everything in here I've done basically myself. I've had a little help here and there. But all of the wiring, all of the lights, all of the outlets that I've run, all of the tooling that's been moved, for the most part, every single thing in here I've moved with a stinking pry bar or whatever it is. And I've moved the vast majority of it by myself because I had the opportunity. So I've learned to look for those little 15-minute windows. I've learned to look for, okay, today I can get that done. I have this much time. And we're used to, I've only got 15 minutes. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go out there and get dirty. I'm not going to go do this or that or whatever because I've only got 15 minutes. But now it's like, hey, I got 15 minutes. I can get that done. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it. So, and before you know, that 15 minutes every day for 3 years, it adds up. For 3 years, you've done a lot. You've got a lot accomplished. And you look back and it's like, man, it feels like this has been a 10-year process. But in all reality, this has been 3 years. And, there's a lot of nicer buildings. There's a lot of nicer things. But this is mine. And this is something that I've invested my time and money and effort and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into. And I'm proud of it and I like it. This is my happy place. This is where I go to unwind. This is how I shed stress and everything else. This is where I can go and do stuff. And it's even opened up the ability to do a lot of stuff from home. A lot of my job is prototyping and putting things together and making stuff and trying things out. And when all this COVID stuff happened, and right now my kids are homeschooled and I've got to stay home. I've got to watch them. So I can be out here working and running parts on a CNC mill and cutting out parts that need to be bent for work. And I can do it, every bit of it, right here at home. And I don't have to leave. So, having that in place, it's given me the ability to work from home when otherwise I'd have had a big problem. I'd had a major problem. Now, a lot of that is you've got to earn the trust of your employer. You've got to show them, hey, if I work from home, I'm going to do stuff. I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to make this work. So, there's a lot that goes into that. But again, I'm very blessed to have what I have and to have the opportunities that have been handed to me. I've got a GED. I don't even have a college education, but I make good money and I do well. And, God's been good to me. I think sometimes when you get that college education and you get that that degree, you think you deserve that big house and that nice car and all that, because I went to college for 4 years and I did this. And I think sometimes that you think you deserve something. I was raised in a Christian home, and I believe that I deserve nothing. If anything, I'm a sinner. I'm saved by grace. And what do I deserve? Really nothing. I've done nothing to deserve the blessings that I have. Now, I'm going to do everything I can to be good to people and be honest and everything else. But I think when you come at things from a perspective of gratitude, life is just better. So anyway, just wanted to make this quick video. Again, your priorities matter. You want to do something, you can do it, but you may have to sacrifice. You may have to forego the fancy things in life. You may have to forego what you think you deserve to get what you want, to get where you need to go, to acquire skills or whatever it is. There's been a lot of nights when everybody else is watching TV that I'm reading a book, that I'm looking at videos on how to fix something or how to do something or how to diagnose something. You don't walk into something I've got a knack for problem solving, but you don't problem solve things without the knowledge or that basic understanding of whatever it is you're problem solving. You have to learn that. That's knowledge that you have to put in your brain. And you can have a knack for everything. And I believe that everybody on this planet was born with some gift, something that they can do that nobody else can do just as, quite as good as they can in that particular area or whatever it is. But I believe God's given every one of us a gift that is fairly unique to us. But it's whether you find that gift and whether you do something with that gift. It's what you choose to spend your time on. Your time is your most precious asset. So are you willing to put the effort in? Are you willing to get off your butt not watch TV, not do something that's brain dead amusement in order to better yourself? Are you willing to read a book instead of watch a movie? Are you willing to, we have YouTube today where people can get on there and find anything they want to find. You can watch a cat video. You can watch, people hitting themselves or whatever, pranks, and I've done that myself. But you can also learn how to weld. You can learn a trade, or at least get proficient. You can become a good amateur just watching videos on YouTube, and then you can hone your skills in whatever vocation you choose to be in. I want to be a machinist, or I want to be a welder, or I want to be whatever it is. Hey, get on YouTube right now. Go buy a $100 welder on Craigslist or at Harbor Freight or wherever. I started out with an $89 welder and the cheapest welding helmet you could buy and the cheapest welding wire you could buy, and I started right there. And now I wouldn't want to use that welder, but that welder got me started. That welder gave me something to get started with. I started learning how a puddle looks when you're welding something. Next thing you know, I've got 5 welders in every process imaginable, because I started with that $89 welder. It's what I could afford that day when I wanted to do it. And I passed that welder on to somebody else or traded it off or whatever it is, and hopefully that thing's still going somewhere. But, it was me putting money into something that was constructive instead of just throwing it down the drain. And so I've tried to look at everything I do and how much time I spend on all of these different things that I do, and everything that I've done that is constructive. Hey, I've wasted money. I've broken things. I've got a $400 tool in there that I just wiped out in the CNC machine. It was me being stupid, not realizing what I was doing, forgetting to hit a button, and I just ran it into a part and destroyed the tool. It was a $400 tool. And that sucks. But I went and bought another one because I could afford to do that, because I've put my money where I want to invest in things that are constructive. And there's a lot of people that I know that they would have just stopped right there. I just wasted $400. I mean, you didn't waste $400. It's a $400 lesson. You never fail unless you choose to, but you can learn. Every time I break something, every time I mess something up, it's like, okay, well, don't do that again. But I've learned something. I've learned a lesson, and it cost me. Every lesson is an expensive thing, but I don't do that again most of the time. Sometimes I do, but it's put me where I am. Every failure that I've ever made in my life has put me in a place in my life that I like. I like being here. I like where I'm at. I like where I live. I like the shop that I built. I like the tools that I have. I'm happy with what I have. Do I want more? Of course I want more. And if I have the opportunity to get some more tools, I want to get a CNC lathe and learn that. I want to get a sheet metal brake, or not a sheet metal brake, a metal press brake. I'd like to get an iron worker. And that's what that's going to be. When I build what I've got over here, the CNC shop over here, I want to build the same thing over here and have a 20 by 30 part of my building that's just dedicated to fabrication, welding, plasma cutter, all that stuff will go in that section. But always have a plan. Never underestimate what you can do. Never underestimate what's there. And it seems like the more opportunity you allow to come into your life, the more opportunity shows up. Years ago, 5-6 years ago, I had a Harbor Freight mini mill and a Harbor Freight mini lathe, and I thought I was just cooking, man. I thought this is awesome. I'll never have anything bigger than this, but this is cool. And I started prototyping for stuff at work. My boss would ask me to do something. Yeah, I'll see if I can make it. And I'd go home and I'd make it on a lathe that was a third of the size that I really needed to make that part, but I figured out a way to get it done. And that snowballed. And 5-6 years later, I've got a fully functional machine shop, a CNC mill that I never would have imagined in a million years that I would have something like that I would know how to run something like that. When I bought it, I didn't know how to run it. I mean, I spent $10,000 on something that was just, it was foreign, but it was like, hey, I mean, I can learn. I'll figure it out. So don't limit yourself. Don't stop yourself from learning. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money on frivolous things just to keep up with everybody else. Learn to be content with what you have, but looking forward to what you can do. So anyway, just update to the shop, I guess, and a little bit of whatever that was. You guys have a great day. Goodbye.